Silence often hides a truth that most people never stop to question. Society teaches us that the happiest people are surrounded by large groups of friends, endless conversations, and constant social activity. Anyone with only a few close relationships is often judged as lonely, shy, or unable to connect with others. Yet psychology tells a very different story. Some of the most emotionally intelligent and deeply compassionate people intentionally keep their social circle incredibly small. They are not running away from people. They are protecting something that most individuals never even realize they possess. Their emotional energy is limited, valuable, and easily affected by the people around them. This hidden reality explains why many empaths choose quality over quantity, even when the world pressures them to do the opposite. Their quiet lifestyle is not a weakness. It is often the result of years spent learning painful lessons about trust, emotional exhaustion, and the true meaning of genuine human connection. While many chase popularity, an empath quietly searches for peace, and that single difference changes almost every relationship they build throughout their life. What makes this even more fascinating is that many empaths do not recognize these patterns within themselves for years. They simply notice that social situations leave them feeling unusually tired, that certain people seem to drain all of their energy, or that they never quite feel comfortable in large groups. Friends may come and go, yet the empath continues to wonder why meaningful relationships seem so rare. The answer is not found in being unfriendly or antisocial. It is hidden inside the unique way their mind processes emotions. Scientific studies on empathy suggest that highly empathetic individuals often respond more strongly to emotional signals than others. They naturally notice subtle facial expressions, tiny changes in someone's voice, uncomfortable silence, hidden sadness behind a smile, and emotional tension that most people completely overlook. This constant awareness can become mentally exhausting without them even realizing it. While others walk away from a conversation and quickly move on, an empath may continue thinking about another person's emotions for hours or even days. That emotional weight slowly shapes the way they choose relationships. Many people believe that making more friends automatically creates a happier life. The truth is far more complicated. Strong relationships depend less on numbers and far more on emotional safety, honesty, and mutual respect. An empath understands this, sometimes without being able to explain why. They would rather spend one peaceful evening with a single trustworthy person than attend a crowded gathering filled with shallow conversations. To outsiders, this choice may seem strange. Some may even mistake it for loneliness. Yet beneath the surface lies a completely different reason. Every conversation, every emotional exchange, and every relationship leaves an imprint on an empath's mind. Because they absorb emotional experiences so deeply, they become extremely careful about who they allow into their personal world. What appears to be distance is often protection. What appears to be isolation is often healing. This hidden side of empathy has fascinated psychologists and relationship experts for years. Emotional sensitivity can become both an incredible gift and an enormous challenge. It allows someone to comfort others, understand pain without many words, and recognize emotions that remain invisible to almost everyone else. At the same time, it can attract unhealthy relationships, emotional manipulation, and one-sided friendships if healthy boundaries are missing. Many empaths spend years giving endless support to others while quietly ignoring their own emotional needs. Eventually, they begin changing. They become more selective. They stop chasing approval. They learn that protecting their peace is not selfish. It is necessary. That transformation often surprises everyone around them. Friends may wonder why the empath suddenly becomes quieter, more private, or less available. What they fail to realize is that this change usually follows years of emotional overload rather than a sudden personality shift. Throughout this video, you will discover the hidden traits that many empaths with few or no friends quietly share. Some of these traits may completely change the way you understand yourself or someone close to you. Others are rarely discussed because they happen beneath the surface, where emotions influence decisions without drawing attention. You will learn why emotional exhaustion affects empaths differently, why deep conversations matter far more than casual socializing, why trust becomes one of the hardest things for them to give, and why spending time alone often restores them instead of making them feel isolated. You will also uncover why many empaths notice dishonesty long before anyone else, why they frequently struggle after years of overgiving, and why their small social circle is often a sign of emotional wisdom rather than emotional weakness. As we move through each trait, a larger picture will begin to emerge, revealing that these behaviors are connected in ways that many people never recognize. The final trait is perhaps the most surprising, because it explains why some empaths finally stop trying to fit into places where they never truly belonged. It is a realization that changes how they see friendships, relationships, and even themselves. Missing that final insight means missing the one idea that connects everything you are about to hear. By the end of this journey, you may discover that having only a few genuine friends is not a personal failure at all. For many empaths, it is the natural result of choosing authenticity over appearance, peace over popularity, and meaningful connection over empty attention. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the hidden psychology of empathy, emotional intelligence, relationships, and human behavior in simple and practical ways. If you enjoy thoughtful content that helps you better understand yourself and the people around you, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos. Now, let's begin with the very first trait that quietly sets many empaths apart from everyone else. The first trait that quietly separates many empaths from other people is something that often gets misunderstood. They can genuinely enjoy spending time with others, laugh during conversations, and care deeply about the people around them, yet they still leave social gatherings feeling completely exhausted. This confuses many people because they assume that if someone had a good time, they should also feel refreshed afterward. For an empath, the experience is very different. While most people are simply listening to words, an empath is also absorbing emotions. They notice the tension behind someone's smile, the sadness hidden beneath a cheerful voice, the frustration that someone tries to hide, and the anxiety that fills the room without anyone talking about it. Their mind is constantly processing emotional signals, often without realizing it. By the time the conversation ends, they have not only carried their own emotions, but also pieces of everyone else's. This invisible emotional workload can become overwhelming. That is why many empaths need quiet time after being around people, even when nothing unpleasant happened. It is not because they dislike socializing. It is because their emotional system has been working much harder than anyone else can see. Over time, they begin protecting their energy more carefully. They become selective about invitations, choose smaller gatherings instead of crowded events, and sometimes decline social plans simply because they know their emotional battery needs time to recharge. People who do not understand this may wrongly assume that the empath is distant or unfriendly, but in reality, they are simply trying to prevent emotional burnout. This naturally leads to another trait that shapes almost every friendship an empath has. They usually have very little interest in surface-level conversations. While others may enjoy endless discussions about gossip, trends, or everyday drama, an empath often finds those conversations emotionally empty. They are not looking for constant entertainment. They are looking for genuine connection. Their curiosity goes much deeper than ordinary small talk. They enjoy discussing personal growth, childhood experiences, fears, hopes, purpose, healing, relationships, and the lessons people learn through difficult moments. They appreciate honesty more than perfection and vulnerability more than impressive appearances. Because of this, they sometimes struggle to connect in environments where conversations rarely move beyond the surface. They may quietly listen while everyone else talks, not because they have nothing to say, but because they are waiting for a conversation that actually feels meaningful. Unfortunately, deep conversations are not always easy to find. Many people avoid emotional topics because they feel uncomfortable discussing them. As a result, the empath may leave feeling disconnected, even after spending hours with others. This creates a strange experience where they are surrounded by people yet still feel emotionally alone. Eventually, they stop forcing connections that never develop naturally. Instead of collecting dozens of casual friendships, they become content with only one or two people who truly understand them. Their ability to notice emotional details also gives them another unique characteristic. Empaths are often extremely skilled at recognizing when someone's words do not match their behavior. While others may accept what they hear at face value, an empath quietly notices the inconsistencies hiding underneath. A person may offer kind words while showing irritation through their body language. Someone may promise loyalty while repeatedly behaving in selfish ways. Another individual may smile during every conversation yet quietly compete, criticize, or manipulate behind the scenes. These contradictions rarely escape an empath's attention. This does not mean they possess magical abilities or assume the worst about everyone they meet. Instead, they naturally pay attention to patterns. Human behavior is often more honest than spoken language, and empaths tend to notice those behavioral patterns long before other people do. They remember how someone consistently behaves rather than focusing only on what they say. Because of this awareness, they often recognize manipulation, passive aggression, emotional dishonesty, or hidden resentment before the relationship becomes openly toxic. Unfortunately, this ability can also make social life more complicated. Once an empath senses that someone cannot be trusted emotionally, they usually begin creating distance. They may become quieter, less available, or stop sharing personal information altogether. Other people sometimes misunderstand this change and believe the empath is overreacting. But from the empath's perspective, protecting emotional safety is far wiser than ignoring repeated warning signs. One of the biggest reasons many empaths eventually have very small circles is that they have spent years giving far more than they received. Compassion comes naturally to them. When someone is hurting, they instinctively listen. When someone feels lost, they offer encouragement. When a friend experiences heartbreak, failure, stress, or fear, the empath becomes the person everyone calls first. They willingly give their time, patience, advice, and emotional support because helping others feels deeply meaningful to them. At first, this generosity creates strong relationships. People appreciate having someone who truly listens without judgment. The problem begins when those relationships become one-sided. Many empaths slowly realize that they are always supporting others, while very few people ask how they are doing. Their phone rings whenever someone needs comfort, but it remains silent when they need the same care in return. Over months or even years, this imbalance creates emotional exhaustion. They begin feeling appreciated for what they give, rather than for who they are. Some relationships quietly become dependent on the empath's kindness without offering genuine mutual support. This realization can be deeply painful, because empaths often believe that caring for others will naturally create lasting loyalty. Sadly, that is not always true. Some people gladly receive endless compassion without ever learning to give it back. After experiencing this pattern repeatedly, many empaths become far more careful about who receives their emotional energy. They stop explaining every feeling, stop rescuing every struggling person, and stop believing that kindness alone guarantees healthy friendships. As these experiences accumulate, solitude begins taking on a completely different meaning. Many people associate being alone with sadness or rejection, but an empath often experiences solitude as emotional recovery. Time alone allows them to release the emotions they unknowingly absorbed throughout the day. Their thoughts become quieter. Their feelings become clearer. The mental noise created by constant interaction slowly fades away. During these peaceful moments, they reconnect with themselves, instead of carrying everyone else's emotional burdens. Reading, walking, writing, enjoying nature, or simply sitting in silence often restores their energy far more effectively than another social event ever could. Unfortunately, people who do not understand this need sometimes assume the empath is becoming cold, withdrawn, or uninterested in maintaining friendships. They may interpret canceled plans or quiet weekends as rejection. In reality, the empath is simply maintaining emotional balance. Without enough time alone, they become mentally overwhelmed, emotionally scattered, and physically exhausted. Solitude is not an escape from life. It is the place where they recharge so they can continue showing genuine kindness without losing themselves in the process. This need for emotional safety also explains why trust develops very slowly for most empaths. They may appear warm, compassionate, and approachable from the outside, but allowing someone into their deepest emotional world is an entirely different matter. They rarely trust based on first impressions alone. Instead, they quietly observe how people behave across different situations. They notice whether someone keeps promises, treats others respectfully, accepts responsibility for mistakes, and remains consistent during difficult times. They understand that charm can be temporary, but character reveals itself through repeated actions. Because of this, they often spend months or even years getting to know someone before fully opening their heart. Their trust is built gradually, one honest interaction at a time. This careful approach naturally results in a much smaller circle of close relationships. But the friendships that survive this process often become incredibly loyal and deeply meaningful. As we reach the end of this journey, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Having few or even no close friends does not automatically mean an empath is lonely, broken, or incapable of forming relationships. More often, it reflects the way they experience the world. They feel emotions more deeply, notice what others overlook, and protect their inner peace because they know how easily it can be disturbed. Every trait we explored today points to the same reality. Empaths are not searching for more people. They are searching for the right people. They are not interested in relationships built on convenience, appearances, or empty conversations. They want honesty instead of pretense, loyalty instead of attention, and genuine understanding instead of temporary company. Many empaths have learned these lessons through painful experiences. They have given too much, trusted too quickly, ignored their own needs, and carried emotional burdens that were never theirs to carry. Those experiences changed them. They became more careful, more selective, and more protective of their hearts. From the outside, this may look like distance. In reality, it is wisdom. It is the quiet strength that comes from knowing that peace is more valuable than popularity, and that one sincere friendship is worth far more than 100 shallow connections. So, if your circle is small, do not rush to believe that something is wrong with you. A meaningful life has never been measured by the number of names in a contact list or the size of a social gathering. It is measured by the people who make you feel accepted, respected, and safe enough to be your true self. The quietest person in the room is not always the loneliest. Sometimes they are simply the most careful about where they place their heart because they understand that genuine trust is one of life's rarest treasures. Now we'd love to hear from you. Did you recognize yourself in these traits? Do you prefer having a small circle of trusted friends? Or do you enjoy being surrounded by many people? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else realize they are not alone. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, please take a moment to give it a like, subscribe to and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our future videos about empathy, psychology, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. And don't forget to share this video with someone who values deep, meaningful connections over superficial relationships. You never know who might need to hear this message today. Thank you for watching, and remember this before you go. The strongest hearts are not always the loudest. Sometimes they are the ones that choose peace, protect their energy, and wait patiently for the few people who truly deserve a place in their lives. We'll see you in the next video.